Hey, what's up, everyone? Chris Romano. I'm a high-performance coach with a Major League Baseball organization, and I'm a dad with 2 baseball players, an 8U, and then a very advanced 11-year-old. I was in a discussion earlier today, and the idea for making a video series on recovery methods for youth athletes came up, and so this is kind of me talking about a bunch of different methods. I don't know how long the video will be or how short it's going to be, but I'm going to do a more focused video series coming up on a lot of the methods that I'm going to talk about here. We've got access to our players, for 8 to 12 hours a day. So one of my big roles as a high performance coach is monitoring their workloads and helping their recovery methods, right? And so there's a lot of tools that we use to do this that are easily accessible for the general population, stuff that you can go online and get for your kids that aren't very expensive, that we utilize. But I utilize it with my kids, especially my 11-year-old, but I never see or hear of any other kids doing this, right? So many youth coaches and youth players are focused on getting stronger, being more powerful, higher bat speed, higher exit velocity, faster velo as a pitcher. You just really don't hear of the recovery stuff when it comes to the youth realm. So some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about the stuff that I use with my 11-year-old. All right. He's doing something for baseball probably 5 to 6 days a week. His team practices 2 to 3 days a week, and then he's got tournaments on a lot of weekends. And when he's not with his team doing that stuff, he's usually hanging out with my team in AA, shagging BP, going out to pitcher stretch, throwing with a couple of the guys, kicking a soccer ball around, that kind of stuff, or lifting. All right. So number one thing is he carries a 2-pound dumbbell around in his baseball bag. Both of my boys do. And neither one are pitchers. Like, Lee'll pitch every now and then. He's the 11-year-old. He'll pitch every now and then. But usually it's just for an inning or two. He's a first baseman and a center fielder. And then my 8-year-old is also an outfielder. They carry a 2-pound dumbbell in their baseball bag. And before they leave the field, they do an arm care program. All right? A post-throwing arm care program. Arm care is not just for pitchers, all right? It's for position players as well. Your shortstops throw a lot, your outfielders throw a lot, third basemen throw a lot, and especially catchers, all right? Catchers really have the highest workload when it comes to throwing than pitchers even, all right? So arm care for that is very important. And you can do a 5-minute arm care program. I've got a few of those in other videos, and I'll link them to this video, that you can do in the dugout before he leaves the ballpark, right? So what Lee will do, he's got his dumbbell. He'll go between 8 and 12 reps of front raises, lateral raises, DT raises, external rotation, internal rotation, and then a forearm series, all right? And then he leaves, and it takes him 5 minutes. Then he goes and he goes home, all right? There's other arm care that you can do built in with your strength and conditioning program. A lot of rows, static holds, isometrics, and then a lot of like internal, external, rotational exercises that you can do. And I've got other videos on this stuff on this channel that you can easily look for. All right, but those are your 2 types of arm care. Arm care, when it's after you throw, the whole purpose of that arm care program is to stimulate recovery. You're getting blood flow to the muscles that need to recover. All right, and then the purpose of the arm care built in with your S&C is to help strengthen the muscles, rotator cuff muscles, and your forearms to help lower the injury risk, okay? So, with that, that's your arm care stuff, okay? We don't ice, right? After you throw and you ice down, you're actually going to delay recovery because you're constricting the blood flow in the vessels, okay? So, you don't want to ice down after you pitch. You don't want to ice down after a game or after practice for the arm. That's going to delay your recovery. do arm care that stimulates recovery. Okay. Second thing, all right, I monitor Lee's workload and Alex's workload with Catapult. All right, so Catapult is a GPS pod that they wear under their uniform, and it tells me how far they run, how fast they run, what amount of distance and time they're in different speed zones, right? Sprinting is above 90%. Obviously, that's a lot more stress than a jog, okay? So I can see how fast they're going, and I can see how far they're going for a given session, okay? You can get these are available online. I got them on Amazon, and I think it was like $180 for the year. It's a subscription. You get the pod and the vest with it for free when you subscribe. All right, so I can look at that and I can see, okay, here's what their workload was for the day, and I'll do another video later on in detail on this, but here's what their workload is for the day. So here's how I'm going to adjust their recovery program, whether it's an S&C one, whether it's going contrast tubs, because we can do that at home too. A lot of people can do that. It's easier to do it as a contrast shower, you know, all the way cold for a minute, all the way hot for a minute. You know, I can dictate what we're gonna do, and I can dictate what their S&C is gonna look like for the next couple days based on their workload on that given Catapult. All right. I can also, for an injury risk reduction standpoint, I can make sure they're hitting certain distances in high-speed runs, such as sprints, right? If you're not sprinting at least every 5 to 7 days, when you do sprint, you're gonna be at a higher risk for an injury. And you're also gonna lose speed. So I can make sure they're hitting 3 or 4 sprints, like full speed sprints, 90% of max velo or higher, at least every 5 days, all right? We tend to go every 4 days with Lee. Second thing, Lee uses, or I guess third thing, Lee uses a Whoop. All right, this is a Whoop this is a Whoop right here, okay? I think it's like $30 a month, or I think I paid like $220 for the year for the subscription. It's similar to the Catapult. You get the device for free with the subscription, all right? This tracks sleep. It tracks different stages of your sleep and how long you're in it for recovery, such as your REM zone. And it tracks your overall readiness, and then it also tracks your HRV, which goes into that readiness score. All right, so I can see how physiologically strained he is, and we use this in pro ball too with a lot of the players. I can see how his physiological strain is, and I can use that to dictate what's in my control, such as his S&C and his speed work. Right. I'm not going to control what he does on the field, because that's his baseball coach's responsibility. I'm not his baseball coach. Obviously, I'm away with my team. But I can control what's within my control based on the knowledge that I've got from his Catapult and from his Whoop. So I can see if I can push him a little bit harder in the weight room or on his speed work, or if I need to back down and focus more on recovery, right? Recovery stuff would be a lot of mobility, some isometric stuff that doesn't last long, some light lifting, a lot of flows, like baseball flows, if you know what that is. I'll incorporate some of Dr. Gallo's stuff in his recovery, like 90-90 hip switches into a stand-up, stuff like that. You know, and so that having that knowledge really helps, right? Other stuff that he does, he's got a set of recovery boots, right? They're Kingsfield. I actually have I'm a brand ambassador for Kingsfield, so I got a really good opportunity to get a pair of boots for him. I think normally they run like $400, but on days that his legs are sore, it really helps get him ready for the next day, right? Basically, it does a compression massage on the legs, and you feel really good afterwards. All right. I think what else does he do for recovery? Contrast showers, I already talked about. Massage guns, there's not a lot of research out on it. my kids really feel, and a few of our players that I've worked with in pro ball really feel like the massage guns help them. If the player thinks that it helps them, the odds are it is helping them, right? Even if it's not physical, even if it's not physically helping them, if mentally they're believing that it's helping, then it's worth at least trying it out. And then the other big factor, the other big two factors, right? Sleep, we kind of touched on with the whoop, right? You need to get like 8 to 10 hours of sleep as a high level youth athlete, right? Not just for baseball, because your body recovers while it's sleeping. So you can take supplements. Lee takes creatine. That's really the only supplement that he does other than protein every now and then, and some what do you call it, either drip drop or Pedialyte Sport for hydration. You know, you could take some magnesium, you could do cherry juice. Those help with sleep if it's a kid that has trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. But proper sleep is huge for recovery. And then nutrition. Nutrition's the other thing. Make sure they're, you know, eating low processed foods, right? Not McDonald's and that kind of stuff. You know, quality foods go a long way, and making sure they're getting enough protein, because protein is the building block of muscles, right? Again, I didn't know how long this is gonna last. We're at about 12 minutes. So I'm gonna end the video here. I'm gonna put, when I make a new video on this stuff, on the specific topics, like I'll make one on whoop, I'll make one on the catapult, I'll make one on the recovery boots. You know, so go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when I do upload those, and I'll post the links to those on the description of this video. All right, hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out to me.